Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Victor Chu with SkyTech, and today we have a very special guest, Jeremy Workman, director, cinematographer, editor, and the owner of Wheelhouse Creative.
Thanks for having me,
And
Victor.
of course, you just released Lily Topples the World, the coming of age story of domino artist and YouTuber Lily Hevesh, considered the world's best domino artist. And you also made The World Before Your Feet, featuring Matt Green, who walked every street of New York City, and also Magical Universe, featuring Al Carby, who created elaborate dioramas and collages using Barbie dolls.
I've done a couple others, but those are my last three. I mean, I've consistently been doing these documentaries on, kind of unique individuals, artists, people who are really sort of doing their own thing and kind of following their own paths. And this new documentary, Lily Topples the World, is been one that I've been working on, and it's my newest one. And as you said, it's about the world's most acclaimed domino toppling artist, and Lily Hevesh, who has become kind of world famous. You can see a little image on this poster here, but she's become world famous for doing these incredible domino displays that she mostly posts on YouTube. That's like her format. That's where she creates stuff. So yeah, that's my newest. It's out now. It can be found on Discovery and Discovery Plus.
Right, and this movie, Lily Topples the World, played at the 2021 South by Southwest Film Festival. It was awarded the Grand Jury Prize for Best Documentary, widely praised by critics. 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, as you mentioned, on Discovery Plus and Discovery. Also on a limited release, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we're for those in New York City, it's playing, in theaters at the IFC Center.
Yeah, I actually saw it a couple days ago at the screening party. I really enjoyed it. Found it to be very captivating, even a little bit of tear jerking, as well as being humorous at other times. But I want to go back to The World Before Your Feet, and that's where I met you.
Can we discuss your involvement?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you reached out to me and asked if I could do drone videography of Matt Green, who was on a mission to walk every single block of New York City. So I thought it was a pretty interesting project, and I think we probably went around. We took your car around New York City and shot for 8 hours, following Matt walking all over the city. And I think it's interesting. I work with a lot of French directors and French documentary filmmakers, and their kind of philosophy is like, start rolling, pause for 4 seconds, go 8 seconds, stop, and then pause for 4 seconds, and then cut. So they were very, very methodical. Whereas when you reached out to me when we were on set, you were like, hey, what do you think? Does this look better, or does that look better? What do you think? So I think there was a lot of collaboration involved.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of how I see it. And, for everybody watching here, Victor's drone work is really amazing. And it was important. This is the film we're talking about here. I just kind of threw it up in my image here. I know it doesn't fit perfectly, but it's called The World Before Your Feet. It came out in like 2018, 2019. It had a very pretty robust release, and it was in a lot of theaters all over the United States, and played big in Canada. And it was just this sort of, really interesting movie about this guy, Matt Green, who, as you said, is walking every street of New York City. And I filmed him for a couple of years, but I really wanted some drone footage in there, just to kind of situate him, to see him amid the world of New York City. And that's when we collaborated quite a bit with having you shoot those drones. It was tricky because I wanted, footage in New York City and in Manhattan, and it's very kind of, questionable, kind of the legality. Right. So I really wanted to figure out how to get it and make it work for the movie. And we did. It was phenomenal. It was great to work with you. Yeah. I mean, I guess to answer your question about the collaboration thing, I figured, I like bringing in people that are really talented and that are good and know what they're doing and that have ideas. Some filmmakers don't do that. Some feel threatened by other collaborators. I don't. I love bringing in people that are just really good, and I definitely, that was the case when I was working with you.
Thanks so much. What was the process behind choosing Lily as the subject of your documentary?
Yeah, and just to echo what you said, when I approached Lily, and this will answer that question, when I really, the process of starting it, I was really intrigued also about this idea of a documentary film as a coming of age movie. Less about just a portrait of a character or a portrait of an artist. We've all seen a million documentaries that are portraits of artists. I wanted to do something that was a little different, which was almost like a coming of age movie, as if it was like Lady Bird or something like that, and I think that's what really interests me. I approached Lily in 2018. I was still finalizing the other movie, The World Before Your Feet. And I was a real big fan of Lily's. I was a fan of her YouTube channel. It was really as simple as that. And I was interested in it from being a documentary filmmaker. I was just interested in her and her story. And as you said, there, it touches on race. She's an adopted Chinese. She's Chinese adopted, and she was adopted into a family in New Hampshire, a white family, and she grew up in a town where she was the only Asian American. And I sort of knew that kind of loosely going in, and I thought that was really interesting, and how she sort of dealt with that as a young woman, and then sort of, had her own sort of doubts and insecurities, but just sort of skyrocketed like right through them and figured out how to navigate them to become this kind of awesome young artist. And that was really interesting to me. Also, what was also really cool was this idea that, I don't know if your viewers are aware of the domino community on YouTube, domino topplers. It's huge. Right. Like it's really, it's huge. Wow. Lily's the queen of it. She really is. Yeah. She's the top, there's almost nobody in second. She's the top. And, but the whole community is really big. And I was also really quickly noticing that she was the only woman, that they're all boys. They're all mostly teenage boys. And here's this really interesting young woman who is the best at it and the greatest and has the most acclaim and is the only girl. So that was also, all these things were making me interested in this as a potential documentary film. But then one of the neat things that's happening along the ride is that she is approached to do her own line of dominoes, which is like this dream for her.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And so there's this great moment where I filmed her going into Walmart and finding the box on the shelf. And I mean, it was really awesome, because first of all, it was also complicated because I'm filming her. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're supposed to wearing masks. It's Walmart. I'm worried about them telling us not to film. There's all these things going on in my mind, but it was this incredible moment for her as well, where, this many year struggle for her to try to get her own product line finally happens. And we see it all during the movie.
Right. And these things, her struggles, her revelations, her success, it all seems like it was pre-written or it was, like a movie, right?
Yeah.
But obviously this is all real. How did you plan for this? What did you prepare?
Yeah, I didn't at all have any clue that would happen with the product line. And, it was just one of those things where I thought the movie was going to be, this follow along with her, this kind of ride along. Like I was sort of shaping the movie to be a ride along where you were following this young woman as she is doing all these cool events and YouTube things and working with brands and working with celebrities and working on movies as a domino artist. And then what happened was, as I was filming over the course of all that time, suddenly it started, there was like chatter that she, you know, companies were interested in possibly doing a domino line with her. And that became this big moment where I was like, whoa, okay, well now we sort of have our, you know, our structure a little bit. And, you know,
Right.
here, just for anyone kind of watching, this is the product, right? So, you know, we're not trying to sell products here, but this is what eventually, you know, was released and is in stores and all this and that, right? So it became something where, like, wow, this young woman who at the time was 20, 21 is suddenly in meetings with toy executives trying to pitch them her product and explaining why she's the one to do it. And I found that amazing too. You know, that here she was in all these like boardrooms, kind of kicking ass and just kind of being a boss.
Yeah,
you know, you
definitely.
don't usually see that, especially with young women. And I found that to be really inspiring too.
Yeah, and I think that you know, creating your own line of toys, it's like every kid's dream, you know.
Yeah.
And she accomplished that dream. But kind of going back a little bit, what was your goal? What was your mission for the movie? What were you looking for?
Yeah, I think my mission with all my movies is to try to, you know, first of all, to try to do something a little different. I don't like documentaries that are very conventional.
Right.
And when I say conventional, like, I mean, like, I don't do a lot of that, you know, sit down interview stuff, talking heads. I mean, they're in my movies, you know, people sitting in chairs, but I really try to not do that as much as possible. I try to really bring the camera down to the eye level of the subjects and really immerse a viewer in their world and not have people explain so much. Like, I like to just kind of throw you into these worlds and almost not explain so much. Let the audience kind of figure things out a little bit. And so that's kind of a little bit always of one of my goals is to bring an audience into this world and let them experience it on this kind of different present tense way, so that we're not looking at a subject, you know, from afar, like it's Wikipedia or something, but that we're actually with them in this very present tense way. So that was my goal with this movie, without a doubt. You know, I was always with Lily. I was kind of filming her at every one of these events. Most of the time I'm like over her shoulder filming her. I'm tracking her wherever she goes. I'm in meetings with her. I'm in domino art rooms with her. I traveled what felt like the globe. I mean, it really wasn't, but I was in multiple countries with her and I think like 10 cities. So it was also this idea of like sort of just following her in this journey. And that kind of was my goal.
I mean, when you're on set with the dominoes, you really don't want to knock them down. And so how were you wary of, you know, how to shoot this without making any mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a big question, is how do you shoot? And also I wanted to like really bring the audience into this and, you know, show domino toppling and them building these domino structures in ways that they can't just see on YouTube. So I wanted to do all kinds of different stuff, and I brought in technocranes and I had jibs, and I even, you know, we had a conversation the other day where I was like even imagining like, could I shoot drones with this? You know, but you see these kind of incredible domino topples, and I was always trying to figure out like, how can I do this in a cool way? One of the big concerns obviously was me filming and, you know, worrying about toppling stuff over and hitting something and it all going down the toilet. And it was always a big concern for everybody, that, and especially Lily, by the way. You know, Lily was always worried that like I was getting too close with my cameras, or that I was, getting, we were a little too close. And fortunately, it only happened once. One single time did I or my cameras knock down anything. And I know that's bad. It's bad, but it only happened one time.
How many pieces did you knock over?
I knocked down, I think it was when I did it, I knocked down a whole spiral. But like here, I'm going to show you a cool photo. And you could see like kind of like what's going on. So this, you could see like in this, here, let me just resize that. Stand by, everyone. So like, here's an image of,
wow.
Yeah, so that's like a crazy image of a domino artwork that Lily and her team are doing. That's Lily there. You could see a techno crane. I think it was actually a long jib, or it might have been a small techno crane that I'm shooting with, so that I would avoid the possibility of knocking stuff over. But there were other times where my cameras were like right up next to her, and that I would be filming and filming stuff. Often I was trying to kind of like stay away and not be, here, I'll give you another one here, not be so like right in the middle of everything. So like this, often I was filmed more like this.
Oh, wow.
Where I'd be sort of filming from the sidelines. But there were many times where I would have to be like right over her shoulder and sometimes right there with her. And I was always worried. And she was always worried that it was something was going to knock down.
Yeah, I think you reached out to me. I remember you reaching out to me, asking me to shoot in a museum. Was that it? Was that this? And I don't know what I said.
You're right. And now that I remember you and I were talking about this, and I was like, have you shot in this kind of these enclosed spaces? I might have even told you that it was for a domino artwork. I don't remember.
Maybe it was for maybe it was for Matt Green, actually. It was at some sort of museum or something where you wanted like to simulate what was that show on TV? Game of Thrones.
That was for Matt Green.
Oh, that was from Matt Green.
Yeah, with Game of Thrones, like it has that incredible opening title sequence that's like flying over, that map. And I did something like that. But with the Domino movie, I was also thinking like, let's fly some drones over Lily's dominoes. And then I think she killed that idea. She was like, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing it. If the drone, the wind or it's going to fall, you're not doing that.
Yeah, I was thinking like, could it be possible? It had to be a small drone, and you'd have to go up on the side and go forward, but it might be risky. It's definitely risky.
Risky because of the wind?
The wind, yeah. You have to go. You can't go like that. You have to first go up somewhere else, then cross over, and just hover there.
Yeah.
Right. It has to be a small drone, like the Mavic Mini 2.
Good to know. So, well, I may do more domino stuff with them. So if I do, we got to bring in the drones.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for sitting down with me to discuss your new film. Do you mind reminding folks when and where they can see the film?
So depending on when you post it, it probably will be out of theaters here in New York City, but everyone can find it on Discovery Plus, which is Discovery's streaming site. And I know there's like a free week trial, and it's one of the, featured documentaries. So if you just Google it or go, download the Discovery Plus app and sign up for a free 1 week, you could watch it. You could watch it right after you watch this episode here.
Oh, that's it. That's Jeremy Workman, director, cinematographer, editor, owner of Wheelhouse Creative, with his new film, Lily Topples the World.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thanks so much for having me, Victor. And I can't wait to bring you on the next one and do some more drone shooting with you.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Jeremy.
No problem.